just so tired. Why has nobody helped me? I don't know if I've got the energy to get even the basics together for court. I'm just so tired. And it's just like a total systemic exhaustion, which is, like that's my diagnoses and no one respects them or takes them into account except to pretend they don't exist and then to use them against me. I'm really just really quite disabled, and I need to be resting, and I'm still trying to get my I spent a lot of the day putting a Ring security cam out, which is fine because there are security cameras everywhere. All of us are being filmed. I'm not going to be capturing anything else, but all I'm going to be capturing is, I've minded the privacy of my neighbours as much as I can, even though it's, I'm not capturing anything that there are multiple security cameras here anyway. I've done my best to angle it so that it's excluding the others, but because I can't have look, even if it's someone friendly coming up. Now that the police harassment has started up again at this new place, and I can't believe that was Mackley, bold as brass, turning up to do a fucking welfare check that I explicitly told police not to do because of my health. I wonder if he expected me to recognise him and to be intimidated, and I wonder if he's a bit sour that I fucking had no idea who he was. He's a very vague, shadowy character in my memory, who I just remember as being a big, white, dark-haired, sort of, like some character just wandering around. There was no... I know now that it wasn't that he was being useless, it was that he just had no intention of... there was no intention ever of interviewing me as well. It was just to... the whole thing was just a sham. So I think that when he was coming in, when I asked him, would you please come into my bedroom with me and talk to me while Malus is talking to Mitchell in his study, he agreed, but it was... I don't know. I think it was just, the whole thing was just a farce. And the thing is that I often don't recognise people, and I'm often very surprised that people recognise me. I don't know what that's about, but I had no idea who he was, but he was the one doing all the talking. And I think that I suspect I was supposed to be intimidated by his presence, sort of frightened and helpless. I think that's what I was intending to, and what the intention was. yeah, but even though like I got, I went out and I basically initiated the interaction before they could come up here and knock, because the knock with the police or, I mean, that is a real trigger for me, because I've been so badly harassed by police. The fact that it started up here, where, I mean, it's a little bit like, yeah, I mean, it's just started up. That was the second visit. They managed, they did this by the book, unlike the other one where they just pretended that they'd got the wrong address. But I will upload that, and I've got permission to upload that footage, even though it shows where the footage is from, because there's a reason. There's a reason that person doesn't care, and it's not my story to tell, but it's a story that is going to be told, and probably with a lot more success than mine. So I'm going to upload that footage, and it has Liu talking to the officer who's, I don't know what she's saying, but she's, having sat in the driveway for some time after finding me not home. Liu did approach her and asked her business, and they had an exchange, because I've got the footage now, and and it turned out that, I don't know if I should give this information away or not. I have a feeling that, yeah, I'll give this information away. Yeah, I will. So it turned out that it wasn't, because I asked Liu about it as well. So it turned out that she didn't have the wrong address. So there can be no excuse that, well, the reason there was no record of a deployment to that address, a dispatch to that address, is because it was the wrong address. No, she was dispatched, or she did claim to be dispatched to that address. It's just that she was looking for someone who no longer lived up here, which is very similar to when Sene Fidel, and I've got his badge number, rang me when I was at Lilo, so probably October, November, early November, and my mum said that she wouldn't give him my address, but it's a very similar echo of him asking me, about my involvement in a domestic dispute at Papanui Court Motel, and then saying, okay, no, that's a different unit. It was Unit 10, not your Unit 2. It's all like there's just a pattern of, it's just cycling through slight variations of harassment tactics. So yeah, no, I did spend the morning, and the thing is, this is really time consuming and tiring. Everything I do is really tiring, and I can do sort of one project a day, and that wipes me out, but because I'm in survival mode, I can't rest. I can't, it's not like I can't, I have enough self-control that I can do things that are good for me, and at the moment rest is good for me, but I'm in a trauma state where my survival mode is not going to be switched off. It won't be switched off without probably trauma therapy, but it's certainly not going to be switched off while I've got predators actively after me. And that's what the cops are, I'm afraid. And I've got so much evidence of that, and a lot of it is direct, documentary proof, or at least documentary proof that can be court ordered, like from the police cells and a GPS and that kind of thing, which I believe police have not disclosed to me, despite it being, I'm entitled to it under the Criminal Disclosure Act. I mean, they are after me. They are after me, and anyone who thinks that police don't go after people needs to go back to kindergarten and finish finger painting. Basically, try to pass finger painting, and then at a much later stage, try to work with facts about adult life. See how they go then once they've gone back and picked up what they've missed from fucking education. So, as I've said, I don't know if it was just that I've written it, but look, a lot of where I am now, I live in an underground, and as I've said, it's not a criminal underground; it's a victim underground, and the victimhood is largely centred on police harassment or corruption, and and I've talked to a lot of people, and the people I've talked to are in the similar situation than I am, or worse, or now I've been, at the time when I've spoken to some people, they've been in a situation that I hadn't yet lowered to, but, I'm going down a funnel. So everyone says, it's going to get better. It's just like, go fuck yourselves. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Because that's what happens. It gets worse. It doesn't get better. Why would it get better? It doesn't. There's no plausible reason it would get better. You think police are going to just suddenly lose interest in their target? Why would they do that? They've got a fucking mandate, and it's not a police mandate. It's a mandate from other employers. They're not side hustles. Policing, the police work is their side hustle. So they're taking a salary whilst conducting or supporting, criminal, just daily criminal activities and projects. So, I'm not, I've had a couple of neighbours who have, when the fucking unit turned up day before yesterday, because I could hear those cop voices, as I said in my first video. I just heard those voices. You just know those voices, and I poked my head out and I saw them, but one of them, it was the one in the aviators, the younger guy, was quite good looking. He looked a bit like Ryan Felipe. He's mirrored sort of aviators. I guess he had very short, maybe number 4 blonde hair or something. Anyway, he said something like, "Oh, should we go up or hold off for a bit or something?" Whatever that means, I don't know. I mean, if someone wanted to make the legal case, it could be, we just wanted to check on her without exacerbating her PTSD. I mean, that's, superficially plausible, I don't know. But then they walked back, then they went out of sight. And while I was standing out there, one of my neighbours, whom I don't actually know, but see so many people are in the same position as me. And look, some of these people have been to prison themselves, but that doesn't mean that they're guilty all the time, and it doesn't even mean that they were guilty when they went to prison, the thing is, I'm on bail. I've been charged. I've done nothing. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. I should be the prosecuting side. And so when they went out of sight, I assumed that they might be going. It would make sense if they were concerned about my PTSD, that they would go and check with the manager, and that appeared to be where they were going, but I couldn't see them. And although I'd known it was police, the neighbour over there said it's the cops. And I said, where did they go in there? They're just out. I said, can you see them? And they said, yeah. And I said, where are they? They said, just outside the office. So I assumed that they'd be talking to you to go through some sort of formal, sort of process or whatever. But no, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if sound is recorded on that video, but I'm going to ask you to not to keep the recording. I want him to keep the recording. I just really need to get across to him that this can be court ordered, and that it is a crime to destroy evidence. And of course, ignorance of the law is no defence. Now, that may not help me. He may not really know what I'm talking about. Most native New Zealanders don't know the law. By native, I of course mean, born here, first generation at least. And then when I did my first little video where I was like talking about that, and then I did the video where I was like, hello, can I help you? And for some stupid reason I pressed stop, and then I pressed start again after I told them I was going to record it. Funnily enough, I didn't get beaten up after recording them, even though Mellis claimed that that's the reason that she had to handcuff me or whatever. So even though I had a ramping up of, it wasn't a sudden surprise, it was a ramping up, it's like these are police and they're here, which is not the same. There's two elements. There's one, it's the cops, and the second element is that it's all of a sudden. And so the all of a sudden element wasn't there, but the cops were there. And so it was already, I showed pictures, I sent pictures to I did a bit of an APB across several government departments, all mixed up in this fucking horror show, showing my blood pressure and heart rate readings. So my blood pressure was okay, although my blood pressure actually got worse later, and then my heart rate was up and it got higher, so it went from at first recording, and I know how to take my blood pressure. You've got to rest for a bit first, because you've got to make sure that you're reading what your system is doing, not what you've made your system do by exercise. So you rest for a bit and then you take it. So my heart rate had gone up from 106 to 127 while I was resting, because I'm not in control of it. And that's really scary. And I can feel calm in myself, but my body does what it wants to do. It thinks it's in threat, and so I can small instances of these, spikes, it's not a spike anymore. It's it's autonomic event, and it is. They can turn into cardiac events, adverse cardiac events, and I'm in that zone now. I don't want any more surprises, so I've put out a security camera, and because I've been warned twice by different neighbours, and because I know that a lot of people, anyone who's down on their luck, if cops are going to persecute anyone, it's generally going to be people who don't have a lot of power. Now, the fact that most of the people I've spoken to who are in my realm, living under the grating of society, the fact that most of those people that I've talked to, and I don't think I've made any specific racial choices. I think it's the opportunities to talk have just been presented to me because of the circumstances. They've almost always been Maori, and they're often quite surprised that, you know, like, oh, like a little white chick like you know, like, and they believe me, but it's like, you know, like, I don't think, it's almost like people wouldn't take me seriously because of, it's it's a very, like, it's a strange little sort of twist of not racism exactly, but racial prejudice, you know, like, I think people don't think that I would be targeted. And I know that I'm not targeted because of my race or any demographic. I know it's a thing. I know it's because of the threat that I'm posing to their other well, their main work source, main income source, or should we say, taking care of me and people like me. It's not me personally, it's just the threat that I pose. That is their job. That's their job that they're doing on the. It's not on the side. It's their main work, and they, in many cases, these criminals were in that line of work, and then they infiltrate the police after the fact. So it's not like good cops turn bad. It's that bad people, you know, it's like crooks who get law degrees, you know. It's like, you know, they just, you know, it's like anyone who wants to infiltrate something, you know, like they've already got the motive, and then they infiltrated the system so they can do inside jobs, and that's what's happening to me. So yeah, putting that camera, and so what I keep trying to say, I keep interrupting myself, like, I don't think, I had that conversation publicly when I started recording, when Mackley said, do you want to have this conversation in private? And I didn't catch that when I started filming, but I think the first thing that I said when I was on film was, no, I'm happy to have the conversation here publicly, because I think that I don't think there's anyone here who, I'm not saying everyone's had a brush with the police doing their extracurricular activities, but what I'm saying is, to me, this is not a private matter. Police harassment is a public matter, and there's a lot of people here who have been through it themselves. And by here, I just mean in emergency housing and worse, you know. Yeah, but I'm really exhausted. Like, I can't stay up till 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. I have done myself a lot of damage with that, and it could take me months to recover. I could maybe never recover from that. So I've been, you know, going to sleep quite early, probably about 10 o'clock. And I just feel so sleepy now. You probably see my eyes. It's, I don't know what the time is. It's, yeah, it's just before 5. I'm just exhausted, and I just started crying again because I'm so tired. Partly because I'm just tired, partly because it's just so sad that nobody's really on my side. And the thing is that there are people who are supportive, you know, down here in the underneath the grating, but they've all got their own problems, and that's the thing, is that we all have our problems. Like, we're not, as I keep saying, we're not in respite. We're not in a holiday resort. We're homeless, and we're homeless because of some serious problems. Do you think those problems have gone away? Of course they haven't. You don't just get here and then chill out going, wow, cool, I'm in a motel. You know, like, and people are just blatantly offending against me, and someone told me that because I know that police and the people they, you know, I'm not talking about all police, but I'm talking about the criminals who got into, you know, who infiltrated police. You know, I know that they've got, and their employers have got people dotted all around, you know, inside other agencies, and God knows, you know, like, sometimes I think that the odd person here might be planted. I mean, you know, like, criminal organisations are usually very well organised, and that's why I had that video where I was months ago from Papanui Court Motel when I was playing Nina Simone, feeling a bit of Nina Simone, you know, activism, where I was just saying we have to be as organised as these guys are, or we're not going to prevail. These guys are very, very organised. The police are no different from any other criminal organisation. There's a cartel, and they're linked cartels. And when I was sort of mentioning, you know, I feel like there really is some collusion going on with MSD, and I was just told by, you know, someone much more experienced than I am, going, oh fuck yeah, like they definitely do, like, you know, like I was assured of that, you know, like they're, you know, it's just, I don't know why people think that everyone is nice or just makes mistakes. It's like, just anyone who thinks that, just fuck off and don't bother me with your stupidity and your ignorance. I'm just not interested in it. I just grow up, fucking you know, read an encyclopedia that isn't your own fucking asshole, you know? And I'm not saying that I wasn't one of those fucking ignorant pieces of shit, but I'm just saying I've got no fucking time for ignorant pieces of shit. And I'm in a desperate situation, and what's awful is that, you know, like I was saying, I think last night, you know, I'm feeling better, and it's partly because I feel like I've got a, you know, worrying about how to die if I have to. I mean, that's a horrible thing to worry about, because you've got two things to worry about. One, how to do it, and that's nasty because it means that you're going to be dead. And secondly, like, what if it doesn't work? And I think I've got a way to work now, so that's a light off my mind, because it means I've got an escape route, which is just, I mean, I had an ex who would talk about fire cleaning and fire gardening, and you know what that just means is it just means basically like, you know, just flame throwing. It's like, yeah, well, it's clean now. There's certainly no mess left, you know, like no weeds left. You know, it's like, you know, antibiotics just obliterating everything, you know. And yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna self-immolate, but you know, it's that thing where I'm fire solving my problems, where everything is gone. Everything is gone. There's no one left to have these problems. And so of course that made me feel safer, because I know that I can't be tortured by the police and other people anymore. But then your subconscious starts to mistake the cheerfulness for hope of a better future. And then when I remember that it means that I'm not going to have one, it's just like, it's just really sad. And I just can't believe that there's nobody, and I really do wonder about my GP. I mean, I'm not saying she's part of any kind of conspiracy. I mean, fucking nothing would surprise me these days, but no, that's not what I was saying. It's just that she's one of those people who thinks that she's speaking the truth to someone hysterical, whereas she's just one of those fucking middle class people who just doesn't fucking understand what the real world is like in all of its facets. She is living in the real world, but she's living in a part of it that I'm not, and that lots of us aren't. And I don't know how she can. I don't even know how she can I don't know how. I'm really, really sick. I'm physically really sick, and I don't know why I haven't been properly referred to specialists. I'm really like, I don't know why I don't have any help. I'm fucking she knows that I'm disabled. Anyway, that's a ring at my door. Not at my door, at my thing. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make it so it's not just always triggered by kids. Because of false, they do go up my stairs. Yeah, I don't want to capture my neighbours or the kids or anything like that. I'll think of a better way, but at the moment I just feel like that's just something to keep me a little bit safe. Yeah, my place is just a mess again. I can't. I'm not capable of doing I'm not capable of my day-to-day duties, but because I'm hygienic and clean and tidy by nature, I do spend a lot of my energy sort of pushing shit uphill in that direction, and I just want a tidy house, and I can't seem to make it tidy, and there's too much stuff in here, but it's partly because there's a giant fucking... I've got like a lot of legal papers and stuff, and and I've got lots of boxes, and I don't know, I should probably just get rid of the boxes, to be frank. I think the boxes are... I'm not going to be moving out of here. If I need boxes to move out of here, I can get, and it's going to be a decent move where it's legal and everything's above board and I'm going to somewhere better, then I can get boxes then. It's just that fear thing that I'm not going to have enough to move, but I'm not moving again if it's just being chased out again. I'm not moving again. Yeah, I think I need to get rid of those boxes and just face the fact that I'm either going to be moving properly somewhere or this is my sarcophagus. Yeah, I've got so many boxes and bags, and they're my paranoia, but the paranoia is justified, but they're not going to help me. They're not fending off the predators, and I'm not moving. I have no ability to move anywhere. Why would I continue this cycle of fucking torture? But yeah, I know that this is another thing that people don't understand. It's not anxiety. I do have now a diagnosis of anxiety and depression, not because I'm feeling them all the time, but because they are increasingly creeping in and they are really nasty. I don't feel anxious or depressed right now, but my system, like I've got a lot of stress, physical stress symptoms, like I'm getting the electric shocks in my brain and my tongue is getting numb, and it's stuff like that. So I know that means that I am very stressed, and really I need to take benzos, and I'm not taking my meds on time. I mean, I've been meaning to start a schedule in my calendar again to remind me, so because that's the whole point of taking the clonazepam on a schedule rather than lorazepam PRN, because I need to have that coverage so this doesn't happen, because that was the entire purpose of it. And the thing is that I can't lose sight of the fact that my number one goal is to not suffer. And I made that vow to myself a year ago and I didn't stick to it. And this time my number one goal is to not suffer. Nothing's changed in a year. Nothing changed in the year before that. So my first goal is to not suffer. And so I am going to tidy up, but I'm not going to bust a gut sorting things, because I use probably 20% of what's here. You know, most of it can just be out of sight, out of mind. So I'm going to take a couple of benzos. I'm going to go for a wee walk, see if Tommy's there. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to do some, palliative cleaning. And then I'm gonna watch TV or whatever, and whenever I feel like doing something toward the court case or anything else, I will. But I'm not pressuring myself to do that. Death is okay. Death is okay.